The 5 most dreaded words for me are, I need a birthday card. I hit my stash and I end up picking something and it's just not the perfect one. Or I get stressed because now all of a sudden I'm creating from need rather than joy. I'm totally done with that. I'm creating a system that works for me, one that I can pull from to create a meaningful card for anybody in my life, but especially for those moments where I don't have the time or I don't feel creative. Hey chickies, welcome. Today I want to talk a little bit about birthday cards. I'm usually behind the 8 ball when it comes to birthday cards, which kind of sucks because then I end up resorting to social media and doing the happy birthday there. And that's just, as yes, you're thinking of that person, but it's just not as personal. I would so much rather send a card. So in order to actually achieve that, set myself up for success, I need a system that I could make a withdrawal from, just like a bank. And speaking of banks, this is part of the birthday bank. And the birthday bank are a couple of friends of mine. We decided to put a resource together for you. And that means that you can come make a withdrawal whenever you want. My friends Justine, Laurel, Ardith, and myself, we have this really fun set of videos. I hope you enjoy them. They're all linked at the end and in the description below. And this doesn't necessarily apply to those uber creative birthday cards because there are those special cards that you do make well in advance, but this isn't really applying to that. This is more of the quick resource that you need for something maybe it snuck up on you. I think I stumbled upon something that's going to work. Let's dive right in. I was thinking about Laurel's Magic Cup. I'll link her video below. She has this little cup filled with sentiments and kind of little bits and pieces, odds and ends that she can pull quick cards together. And it kind of got me thinking, I have this bin that I just chuck extra things into. Maybe I'm learning a new technique and I have 4 or 5 passes and I have a couple pieces that didn't quite make the cut, but yet they're not ugly, so I don't throw them away because God forbid I throw anything away. I don't have a crazy amount of stuff in there, but I was thinking, what if I repurpose that into a birthday kind of magic bin? Birthdays are magical, why not? In order for this to really work though, I'm gonna need to be constantly adding to it. So I need all different types of birthday cards, and that means that I'm gonna need different kinds of backgrounds, different color patterns, maybe some textures, maybe not. Variety is gonna be key here. Every single morning, I have been creating for just 20 minutes. I have not been worried about the end result, not trying to create a particular project. But what has resulted from that are lots of little pieces. Maybe I create 2 backgrounds, maybe I create 1, maybe I create 4. It just kind of depends on the day. But what's really nice about that is stuff that I can actually add to this bin. I'm talking about creating quick cards. So I thought, okay, I'm constantly replenishing it, adding things, cutting it down, adding to the bin. Maybe different types depending on what I'm feeling that day, because when you're picking out a birthday card or you want to make a birthday card, you're thinking of that person. It's a very personal card to send. I want to think about what that person is like. It's a birthday, so I want it to be a happy thing. If it's a guy, then I go with a, kind of a neutral palette. If it's a girl, usually bright and fun and vibrant. But it also depends on how I'm feeling that day. I could create a card 6 months in advance and not like it the day that I have to send it, because art to me is about a feeling. It's what's tied into my own emotions that day. So I think being able to pull something together really quickly and organically could be great. In order to do that, I need 3 very basic designs, and I'm settling on 3 because that gives me options. I don't want too many because that will just end up sidelining me. So I've kind of come up with 3 very basic sketches, if you will. And from there, you can tweak it. Everything is customizable. And I want something that I can do quickly. So in order to do that, I need to have all the components. First up, backgrounds. So I thought that it would be kind of fun to just use distress oxides today. And you can see I'm just smashing them down onto a gel plate. And then from there, just brayering them out. The key that I found in working with my brayer on this is to really do the pouncing method, just like with paint. Because it was very easy to just kind of get those weird lines. And I didn't really let that bother me, even if I did, because I'm going to be cutting these down. And I could always add something on top of that. I could stamp something over it. I could add a sentiment over it where it doesn't really come into play. I chose some colors that I love together, blue and orange, which are complete complementary colors. They create brown. So rather than worry about them crossing over in the middle, where I end up wearing them out, I just added brown to it. Just lean right on into that mud color. Embrace it, because honestly, it kind of gives it a nice rust feel to it. As you can see, I created lots of different backgrounds. These are actually done with a couple foam stamps by my friend Karen Tamir, and I just kind of created something that gave me a lot of different options. Now, these are just a starting point. When I go to actually create the cards, I still have other things that I can do. I can put paste over them. I can stamp over them. I can emboss. There's so much that you can add to it, or I can leave it as is. A lot of that's going to depend on how much time I have that day. But in the end, whoever gets this card, it's going to be something that I created thinking about them. So that's where options are going to be good. I know that to my bin, I'm going to add watercolor. I'll add gelato's backgrounds. I'll add doodling. I'll probably also add some very simple ink blended ones. It doesn't have to be complicated. Sometimes simple is really best. It can be very elegant. To take it another step, I have a lot of things that I create like on deli paper or maybe a single ply of a napkin pulled on a plate. And those surfaces are not always conducive to creating, a rectangle background or a circle. So I decided to add some other shapes to my little bin as well. Some tags and circles already pre-cut that I could just add those to. It's really going to depend on how I'm feeling that day. So to really set myself up for success, I want to make sure that I have these things in here. I also decided to add a couple of pre-folded and scored cards to that, as well as sentiments, whether they're on a strip stamped out or just die cut. And this is where I realized I don't have enough die cuts for birthdays, let alone stamps. I even put my stamp set, my favorite birthday stamp set by Altenew, I tucked that into the back. And this way I always know it's in the birthday bin. That makes this system very easy. Should I ever need it for something else, I know where it is. I don't really need much more than that. That's enough. But this way everything's kind of in one spot. And not for nothing, this is kind of cute. I'm really digging having all these here, as well as like the little pre-done things. And I love that it's small because I can take it with me to another part of the house and maybe sit down and just assemble, put things together, watch a movie, and get creating. Because that's really what it's about. It's about connecting with those you love. And what better way than with a birthday card? I know that when I go to the mailbox and I see that somebody took the time out of their day to send me a birthday card, that is the biggest smile and the best feeling. So much better than a social media happy birthday. But the inspiration doesn't have to end here. What if I told you that there are 12 ideas that you could even do in 12 minutes? Interested? Keep the birthday bank of ideas going. Click right here for Laurel's video. I'll meet you there for the first one. I'm sure it'll help you get creating.